My wife told me it's complicated. I said, not anymore. Split everything 50/50ths. Kept my dignity 100%. Left without drama. Her affair ended when complications meant real consequences. Mine began when I chose peace over pain. Hey, Reddit. It's complicated, she said, standing in our kitchen at midnight, her phone face down on the counter between us. No, I replied, my voice steady despite the earthquake in my chest. It's actually pretty simple. You're sleeping with someone else. That's not complicated. That's just over. I'm 49. She's 46. We'd been married for 23 years. And in that moment, watching her face cycle through shock, then anger, then something that looked like relief, I realized I'd already made my decision before the words left my mouth. The phone buzzed. Face down. She didn't reach for it. Are you going to answer that? I asked. We need to talk about this. We really don't. I picked up my coffee mug, rinsed it in the sink, and placed it in the dishwasher. Muscle memory. 23 years of muscle memory. I'm going to bed. Guest room. Tomorrow we figure out logistics. That's it. You're not even going to fight for us. I turned to look at her then. Really look at her. The woman I'd built a life with, had 2 kids with, had survived job losses and family deaths, and all the regular chaos of marriage with. And I felt nothing. Not anger. Not heartbreak. Just a profound, bone-deep exhaustion. Fight for us. I repeated. Tell me what there is to fight for. Take your time. I'll wait. She opened her mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. That's what I thought, I said, and walked upstairs. I didn't sleep. Didn't even try. I sat on the guest bed, the one we'd bought for when her mother visited, before her mother passed, and I made lists on my phone. Assets. Accounts. Shared subscriptions. The mortgage. The kids' college funds. Our retirement accounts. The cars. The stupid timeshare in Florida we'd bought on a whim 10 years ago and never used. 23 years of entanglement, and I was going to untangle every thread. Around 3 a.m., I heard her crying downstairs. Soft, muffled sobs that carried through the vents. Part of me, the old part, the husband part, wanted to go to her. But that part was already dead. It had died the moment she said, "It's complicated," because that phrase meant she'd been thinking about this. Rationalizing it. Making it make sense in her head. You don't call something complicated unless you've been living in it for a while. When the sun came up, I was already showered, dressed, and halfway through a spreadsheet on my laptop. I heard her moving around downstairs. Smelled coffee brewing. More muscle memory. I went down at 7. She was sitting at the kitchen table, no makeup, eyes puffy, wearing the Yale sweatshirt our daughter had sent her for Mother's Day 3 years ago. I made coffee, she said quietly. Thanks. I poured myself a cup and sat down across from her. Opened my laptop. I've been doing some math. Can we please just? The house is worth about $680,000. We owe $240,000. That's $440,000 in equity. Split that, $220,000 each. I think you should keep the house. I'll take my half from other assets, or we sell and split the proceeds. Your call. She stared at me. You're serious? Completely. I scrolled down. We have $340,000 in my 401k, $180,000 in your IRA. Combined $520,000 in retirement. Split evenly, $260,000 each. The kids' college funds stay untouched. Those are theirs, not ours. We have about $45,000 in checking and savings combined. Split that, $22,500 each. Stop, she whispered. Please stop. You have your car, I have mine. Both paid off, both keep our own. The timeshare, honestly, whoever wants that headache can have it. I'm guessing neither of us. I looked up at her. I'm trying to make this easy. Fair. No lawyers bleeding us dry. No fights. Just clean. I don't want a divorce. I closed the laptop. Do you want to stop seeing him? The silence stretched out like taffy. I didn't think so, I said. Look, I'm not angry. I'm really not. I'm just done. And I'd rather we do this with dignity than drag it out and end up hating each other. We have kids who are both in college and barely speak to us except when they need money. I softened my voice. Come on. You know they've been functionally independent for 2 years now. They'll be sad. They'll adjust. But they're not little kids who need us to fake it for their sake. She was crying again. When did you become so cold? That one landed. I felt it hit somewhere in my chest. But I didn't let it show. I'm not cold. I'm just not interested in being the guy who begs his wife to choose him over her affair partner. I've got more self-respect than that. I stood up, took my coffee, and went back upstairs to the guest room. The thing nobody tells you about discovering infidelity is how much of it you probably already knew. Your brain is incredibly good at explaining away small inconsistencies. Late nights at work, new passwords on devices, a sudden interest in going to the gym, wearing perfume to the grocery store, little moments where she's laughing at her phone and then closing it when you walk in the room. I'd noticed all of it, and I'd chosen to believe her every time. That's on me. But I wasn't going to choose denial anymore. Over the next few days, we existed in the same house like ghosts. We were polite, careful. We didn't talk about anything that mattered. I continued building my spreadsheet, getting quotes from divorce mediators, researching apartment rentals in town. She continued whatever she was doing on her phone in the other room. On day 4, she tried a different approach. His wife found out. She said over dinner. Take out Thai food. Sitting on opposite ends of the couch, a careful 3 feet between us. He ended it. I took a bite of pad Thai. Okay. Did you hear me? It's over. He ended it. We can work on us now. No, we can't. Why not? If it's over. Because it doesn't matter if it's over. I set down my fork. You didn't end it because you realized it was wrong. You didn't end it because you wanted to save our marriage. It ended because it got complicated. Because real consequences showed up. His wife, my knowledge, actual reality. And suddenly your fun little escape hatch wasn't fun anymore. That's not fair. It's completely fair. I stood up, gathered my takeout containers. If his wife hadn't found out, would you have stopped? No answer. Yeah, I said. That's what I thought. I threw away my food, suddenly had no appetite, and went upstairs. My kids found out on day 7. Our daughter called me, hysterical. Mom says you're divorcing her because she made one mistake. I was in my car, parked outside the office. I closed my eyes. Did she tell you what the mistake was? She said you two grew apart and she got close to someone else, but it didn't mean anything. Your mother had an affair, I said quietly. For at least 6 months, probably longer. I found out. I asked for a divorce. That's the truth. Silence on the other end. Sweetheart, I love you. And I love your brother. And I will never speak badly about your mom to you. But I also won't lie to you. You're 21 years old. You deserve the truth. Dad, her voice cracked. Are you okay? Funny thing was, I actually was. I'm going to be fine, I told her. I promise. My son's call came an hour later. He was quieter. Always had been. Mom's affair partner. Was it someone we know? Does it matter? I guess not. He paused. You're really divorcing? I really am. Okay. Another pause. For what it's worth, I think you're doing the right thing. I wouldn't stay either. Something in my chest loosened. Thanks, kiddo. Yeah. And Dad? Get a good apartment. Like, with a nice kitchen. Mom says you're looking at shitty studios, and that's depressing. I actually laughed. Deal. We hired a mediator. A no-nonsense woman in her 60s who'd seen every flavor of divorce and wasn't impressed by any of them. We sat in her office, me on one side of the table, my wife on the other, and went through everything. You've done most of the work already, the mediator said, reviewing my spreadsheet. This is very organized. I'm an accountant, I said. Organization is kind of my thing. My wife made a sound that might have been a laugh or might have been a sob. We agreed on everything in 3 sessions. She kept the house. I took a larger share of the liquid assets to balance out the equity. Retirement accounts split evenly. No alimony. We both worked. Both earned decent salaries. The mediator kept waiting for us to fight about something, anything. We never did. This is the most amicable split I've handled in 5 years, she said at the end. You two are either incredibly mature or incredibly numb. Both, I said. My wife said nothing. I found an apartment 3 weeks after the conversation started. 2-bedroom, downtown, walking distance to my office. Hardwood floors, big windows. A kitchen that actually made me want to cook again. I signed the lease the same day I saw it. Moving day was surreal. 23 years of shared belongings, and we divided them like we were splitting up a college dorm room. I took the newer couch because she wanted the older one for sentimental reasons. She kept most of the photos. I took the good TV. She kept the sound system. The books were the hardest. We'd built that collection together, shelf by shelf, bookstore by bookstore. You take the fiction, I'll take the nonfiction, she suggested. That works. Our son came home to help me move. Our daughter stayed at school. Couldn't get away, she said, but I think she just couldn't handle seeing it. My son and I loaded boxes into my car, made multiple trips, unpacked in silence with coffee and sandwiches from the deli down the street. This is a good place, Dad, he said, looking around the empty apartment that would become my new home. Fresh start. Yeah, I agreed. It really is. The divorce was final 4 months after that midnight conversation in the kitchen. We signed papers in the mediator's office. Shook hands. She cried. I didn't. I'm sorry, she said in the parking lot. For what it's worth, I'm so sorry. I know you are, I said. And I did know. I just didn't care anymore. I drove to my apartment, not ours, and sat on my couch in the quiet. No TV, no music, just silence and sunlight through those big windows. My phone buzzed. A text from a woman I worked with. We'd been friendly for years, nothing more, but after my separation became office knowledge, she'd started checking in on me. Coffee invitations, lunch suggestions, nothing pushy, just kind. Hey, how'd it go today? I looked at the message for a long time. Then I typed back, it's done. I'm free. Want to grab dinner sometime? The response came fast. I'd love that. I smiled. Actually smiled. First genuine smile in months. Here's the thing I learned. You can't force someone to choose you. And you shouldn't want to. The moment I had to ask my wife to pick me over someone else, I'd already lost. Not because I wasn't enough. I was always enough. But because she'd made a choice to look elsewhere. And that choice told me everything I needed to know. Some guys would have fought. Would have demanded couples therapy. Demanded she cut all contact. Demanded a chance to win her back. Maybe that works for some people. Maybe some marriages survive infidelity and come out stronger. But I knew ours wouldn't. Because she didn't end it until it got complicated. And I don't want to be with someone who only chooses me when the alternative becomes inconvenient. I chose peace. I chose my dignity. I chose to walk away clean rather than stay and slowly poison myself with resentment and suspicion and the constant fear of when, not if, but when, it would happen again. My wife wanted to keep things complicated. Wanted to have her cake and eat it too. Wanted to explore her feelings while keeping the security of our marriage intact. I made it simple. I split everything fair. Took my half. Kept my self-respect. And left. 6 months later, I'm sitting in my apartment with a woman who actually wants to be here. We're drinking wine, laughing about something stupid, and she's looking at me like I'm the only person in the room. It's not complicated at all. It's the simplest thing in the world. My daughter came to visit last weekend. She looked around my place. I decorated it finally, made it actually feel like home, and nodded approvingly. You look good, Dad. Happy. I am happy. Mom's not doing great, she said carefully. She asks about you. That's not my problem anymore. She studied me. You're really over it, aren't you? Completely. How? I thought about it. I chose to be. That's all. I decided I wasn't going to waste time being angry or hurt or trying to understand why she did it. I just let it go, let her go, and moved on with my life. That sounds too easy. It wasn't easy, I admitted. But it was simple. And simple is better than complicated any day. She hugged me before she left. I'm proud of you, she whispered. And that, more than anything else, told me I'd made the right call. I saw my ex-wife once, randomly, at the grocery store. She looked tired. Older. She saw me, started to approach, then saw the woman beside me, my coworker, now my girlfriend, and stopped. We made eye contact across the produce section. I nodded once. She nodded back. And that was it. That was closure. Not a dramatic confrontation, not tears or apologies or what-ifs. Just a nod. An acknowledgement that we'd been something once, and now we weren't, and that was okay. I took my girlfriend's hand and kept shopping. Later that night, she asked me if I was okay. I'm perfect, I told her. And I meant it. My affair, if you can call choosing yourself an affair, began when I stopped accepting pain as a necessary part of love. When I realized that loyalty isn't about staying no matter what. It's about staying when things are hard but fixable, when both people are trying, when the relationship is worth the work. My marriage wasn't worth the work. Not because I didn't love my wife, but because she'd shown me she didn't love me enough to not risk losing me. So I didn't lose myself trying to save something she'd already killed. I chose peace. I chose dignity. I chose me. And every single day since, I've woken up and known I made exactly the right choice. The house sold last month. She moved to a smaller place across town. The kids are adjusting. They spend time with both of us, separately now, and it's fine. Not perfect, but fine. My girlfriend and I are talking about moving in together. Taking it slow, but talking about it. She knows everything about my divorce. I know everything about her past. We're honest. Transparent. Neither of us wants complicated. We just want real. Someone asked me recently if I ever regret how I handled it. If I wish I'd tried harder to save my marriage. The answer is no. Because here's what I know now. You can't save something the other person is actively destroying. You can't fight for a relationship by yourself. And you can't make someone value you by devaluing yourself. My ex-wife made her choice when she started the affair. I made mine when I ended the marriage. She chose complicated. I chose simple. She chose deception. I chose honesty. She chose to see how much she could get away with. I chose to walk away with my head high. And in the end, that made all the difference. I'm 49 years old. I'm divorced. I have 2 adult kids who I love and who love me back. I have a good job, a nice apartment, a woman who makes me laugh and doesn't make me guess where I stand. My life is simple now. Beautifully, peacefully simple. And I wouldn't change a single thing about how I got here. When my wife told me, it's complicated, she thought she was explaining why we had to work through it, why I had to understand, why I needed to be patient while she figured out her feelings. But I heard something different. I heard, I don't choose you. So I chose me. Best decision I ever made.